Hello, let me know if people can hear me. Perfect. Awesome. What if people want to start putting questions and things, this is like a like how do I build this type of thing for work? How to build a sales lead generation tool or things like that. So if there are any questions like that you have, put them in there's a questions tab, which will help me be able to filter through and see them properly. But yeah, I'll go through some examples of what's possible, what people can build, what you can automate, and sort of operate more efficiently with. With the no-code space and everything else, there's a lot of noise. And often people don't know what they don't know, right? So if it's like figuring out some of these things, then hopefully we can help either in this chat or on the site, on social, whatever. So yeah, if you do have questions specifically, then yeah, put them in the tab, and I hope to get to them. And maybe we'll pull people on. We'll pull people on stage maybe in a bit. It's not going to be just a whole hour of me talking. I hope people hopefully will get involved. We'll just wait a few minutes to see if some others are joining us. I can see the numbers creeping up. So I think people, some reason, Livestorm, lots of their emails go to spam, which is very frustrating. Hope everyone's safe at home in either self-isolation or wherever else. We haven't been told anything specific just yet here in the UK. It's just sort of suggested that you should stay home, so we're doing our best. Pretty crazy times at the moment. It's funny to see everyone sort of scrambling to make working remote a thing. So yeah, hopefully seeing some of the options of no-code solutions might actually help a few folks with like figuring out how they can extend their resources further, or add new processes in that might help them. Okay, I've just got myself some notes. A few of the things we're going to go through, I'll try and put them. I wonder if I can just put them here. 2 seconds. This is sort of our agenda, how you can collect and spot areas to automate, selecting some of the best tools for the job, and sort of implementing now to save you time later. Yeah, keep putting questions in the questions tab. Those are good examples that we can go into shortly. Okay, so first things, yes, this will be recorded, and I'll put it on the site when we can. Actually, I'm going to share my screen. Sometimes it's a bit. Okay, I'll have to put this on a separate screen. Yeah, as long as you can all see me and hear me, we're all good. So I'm just trying to get all my setup ready. Okay, yeah. So identifying areas to where you can automate. Sometimes it's as obvious as like, are there areas where we have multiple tools involved, multiple people across multiple tools, where there's some sort of communication that needs to be done, or I pass something to this person, person does this to this person, then there's an email to go to this other person. Is there a sort of copy paste of data that's happening? Is there a repetitive nature to the task being done, like entering a bunch of data, backfilling data, searching for data across different sources and things like that? They're the most obvious places to start with automation. But actually, one of the stories I'm going to talk through is Crash. So Crash helps people launch their careers. I believe it's for more entry-level jobs. But it's one of my favorite stories because it's about an engineering team that use no-code solutions to sort of build and launch things really quickly. Some of the things hopefully you might have realized before. So one of the examples here is that Crash had an idea for a lead generation tool. So they wanted to take people's interests and map those interests into the entry-level jobs that they have available, sort of giving them an idea where they can begin their career. They needed to test it as soon as possible before they spent any more time building it out, sort of the classic example of build something quickly, get validation before you spend time and resources on it. So they came up with a list of questions and answers and just created Typeform, created a Typeform. Typeform is a super simple sort of form software that you can embed, you can link to, you can do a bunch of different things. It even allows a payment block and things like that. So Crash actually used the Typeform to like put together questions and answers and sent it out to their mailing list, which got them 477 or something like that, I think. Yeah, 477 people took the test. Now, they were a bit stuck in the fact that they didn't realize how to actually score anything. So they had all these answers, questions and answers, but they couldn't figure out the scoring. So they spent the next couple of weeks figuring out how they could score the results and map them to the entry-level roles. So they got their scoring up to 90% accuracy, which it meant downloading the CSV that came from Typeform, passing that data with a script, and getting the results, and then putting those results into a Google Sheet that used Zapier to email the results to the individual users. So you can see there's some like manual, some developer, like the script and things is obviously like a link between all the different things involved, but you could see that the quickest version of the form was built probably like in a couple of hours, if not less. So when it came to shipping the real version, they continued to use Typeform, and it was 20% faster than building their own CMS. There was no maintenance and bug fixes on the form. The UI is so simple. There's like this. I'm sure a bunch of you are already aware they have like just really easy buttons to click through and things like that. And they use the embed. So actually it was on the site completely integrated with everything there, and it showed up really well. And they just had to catch a webhook with the user's answers, run it through their script, and generate the results page, which is this page here, you'll see, which looks awesome. So you can see the power of if you have some automations that a bunch of your team could easily put together in combination with engineering resources to say, look, we've got this. There's actually like hundreds of people trying to take this thing. Now let's allocate some resources to it. It's a lot easier to convince or show off that this is needed before trying to get that resource from your developers. They also have Typeform, which powers their contact form on the user profiles. So they didn't want to build a whole contact and system and handle emails, because they could just, again, embed a Typeform on their page and pass through different emails in the hidden fields, because a lot of people don't know that you can do hidden fields in Typeform too. So yeah, super simple. Like I said, it says here, one person was able to ship this idea to production in a single afternoon. So really easy automation there. This one is, like I said, Typeform has this paid block. So they wanted to ship a trial feature for the user to see if they would pay for a trial, a 1 week trial. But this was built because their lead engineer was out on paternity leave. And they hadn't integrated with Stripe yet. So before integrating with Stripe through the API and stuff, they had Typeform, just click, put in the details, and then notifying users someone wants a trial, charging the credit card, and sending receipts that way. Someone just said, is the screen being shared? I can't see anything. Can others see the screen? I hope it is, because I have been sharing. Yeah, okay. JP, I think you may be looking at something in the wrong way then. Okay, cool. So yeah, super easy way to ship this, again, in a few hours versus several days. Like, such an easy test to do, and validation is there with payments. So that's always something that a lot of companies want to see straight away. Now they use Airtable in a bunch of ways too. So this is like an entry-level job opportunities, like an embedded form. We actually just shipped a similar thing for what we're doing. So with all the COVID-19 stuff, we just embedded an Airtable in our site to show people and projects, people, like what projects are people doing with COVID-19 and what people are willing to help. Here's some people. So Anita here is happy to help with any marketing, visual development, communications. Here are her skills, any notes, availability, etc. So Airtable is a super simple way to like embed stuff there. So Crash uses it for job opportunities, and then you can always put buttons on the site, and that can link you to an Airtable form that goes straight into the database. And here they say, yeah, 30 times faster than building their own version and gets the job done. And that's part of what it is about, which is what gets the job done. Is there something you can do that like maybe gets you 80% of the result? Like a job board, it's nice to have a really pretty job board that has been built over a series of months and whatever else that is really fancy. But if all you need is like a list of jobs, why not try it this way first? Try it with an Airtable that like gets the job done. When people are scrambling to use your product, no matter what it looks like, that's when there's something like properly there. So if you're adding a feature like a job board to your site, like I would definitely suggest just embedding an Airtable really quickly. And what you could do is, if you wanted to do a paid job board, you could have a link that would take you to a Typeform that people would have to pay through that Stripe block before they go and get the link for Airtable, or you can just do Typeform through Zapier to the Airtable database. So a bunch of ways you can combine some of these tools together. Again, Card and Webflow. So again, Crash using other no-code tools like Card and Webflow. So they test different landing pages. Obviously, you don't need any coding experience for the creating these things. So they just created a bunch of different types of marketing-driven landing pages. So this is one really good example, because Chuck, who did the interview here, is actually like managing a engineering team, and they talk quite openly about the fact that engineering and no code development can work hand in hand, and actually a lot of time is about sort of having the initial validation done quickly and then move on to development if it's needed. So some other examples that we have seen, you may or may not know Connor Finlayson, who built a site called Unicorn Factory, which is essentially, you sort of recognize the how this is set out. It's basically a marketplace for hiring freelancers. So you can think of a marketplace for anything, selling camera equipment, renting bicycles, or whatever it is. Lots of marketplaces work in the same way. And part of that listing process, as you can see, like there's different people here. Some of them have got tags like new and things, but how do you actually rank these people? How do you sort of show visibility to the newest ones, or people who aren't getting projects, or maybe you're just trying to show off the most popular ones? So you could think of it in terms of showing popular blog posts, showing most popular jobs, showing the most popular listings, or the other way around, with the ones that haven't got any love yet. So Connor actually used Google Analytics, Webflow, and Parabola to pull this together and automatically rank them. So with Google Analytics, you would link that up with Parabola, and the data basically looks at the different pages and how many page views that singular page has. So if you look at Rachel Simpson, you'll see that her URL, that would look like registering in Google Analytics to see how many page views she's had. And then you pull that through Parabola whilst pulling through the data in Webflow. And then you run filters, combine that so that the data is all in one place. And Parabola would then let you export the data to the Webflow API and update a number of page views, so that regularly this could happen sort of daily, hourly, weekly, so that these numbers would be updated and people would change on that listing. So you could, like I said, it could be customer testimonials, reviews, product listings of any type that you wanted to rank in specific orders. Another example is something like customer support, where you might have a team of people who are in customer support. They sort of have different specialities of handling different errors, or they've got different areas to focus on. So Amy, who's on our team, built a tutorial actually on the site, which it lets you have any customer support tickets that come from Zendesk. They get automatically pulled through to an Airtable base, and in that base you can basically manage everything. So you could see different views, you could label them separately, you can assign different people different things. So you could either do that manually, or you could have things pulled in that, okay, if this is a login issue, then as that person is tagging that in their report, in their ticket, you could automatically send that via an email to the person who is looking after that that area, I suppose. And then if you wanted to take that even further, you could sort of have it so that the email sends out to me. So, for example, someone came in saying, I'm having issues logging into my profile. That logs a ticket in Zendesk. It then adds it to Airtable. It then sends an email to me. And then you could also add like a task in Trello or Asana to say, Ben needs to look into this login issue. And all the sort of connections there would be through Zapier. All these tools work really well and really nicely together. So that's like a super straightforward way of doing that too. Because if you want to be able to look through, like, and have a roll up of all the support tickets you've had that week, then you've got Airtable with everything already in there. You can spot, okay, here are some of the things that we need to make help articles on, or we need to improve on our side because people are having the same issues. You could even have an email summarizing like the weekly support tickets that were submitted. So every week you could have a zap that triggers every week and sends to the support manager that then says, here are all the support tickets that happened this week. 10 of them were login issues. 10 of them were changing emails or whatever it was. So you could almost have like these reports happen daily, weekly, monthly, and really start to see patterns to then know where you can fix things and where you can and change things. Another interesting one we did was, again, this is a tutorial actually as well, and it was to create a targeted sales list in Dash. So Dash is basically a spreadsheet-based no-code tool. And the way it works is you pull in different things here. You can see some examples on their site on the sort of hero there. So what we did is you set up a spreadsheet and you connect it with built. Yeah, it's a slight cough. It's not a proper cough. You could set up a spreadsheet and connect it with your built with integration. So that can pull through and see, okay, right, what companies are using Airtable, for example. That pulls through the built with API. And then you can connect in the next column, you could connect Crunchbase like this one. Find their company name, description, URL, region, etc. You pull that data through automatically for however many companies you have there. That data then could automatically populate into HubSpot or something like that you can manage. Then you can see the activity of who's connected with who, any notes, who's emailed at what time, what part of the funnel are they in, etc. So like for sales, it's an easy way to get instead of just having data from one place, searching for it, copy and pasting over to another table, pass it off to someone else to populate another part of it. You can sort of pull it all together in one spreadsheet and then automatically populate the CRM tool that you're using for your communication. And this, data enrichment and sales is such an easy way to automate some stuff. Another story that we had was actually a co-founder of a law firm who they create a suite of online questionnaires using Documate, which is basically developed a bunch of templates in Microsoft Word and then uploaded them. So the questionnaire responses could go through like draft agreements and be sent out automatically, which saved them like so much time because law firms are notoriously slow with things like that. Another good example, another different use case is probably one of my favorite ones is Lambda School. So if you don't know Lambda School, it's a coding bootcamp. Just had a lot of press, a lot of people going through it, where they do like a 9-month bootcamp to help you get a job in software development. But what they actually did to start off with and get the school up and running was their admissions process was using Typeform for the applications. And there's a conditional logic flow so that if user uses or answers this thing, then send them to this question and things like that. So that would really help when students are trying to apply for different types of programs that they've got. And then when they go through that process and they become a good fit, they send them a Calendly link to schedule an interview with the admissions department. And then they implemented Salesforce as their CRM. So when a student completed their application, they used Zapier to do some data cleaning and then pushing that data into Salesforce, where other automations would happen, basically like around emailing the prospective students with information on what the next steps would be and stuff. And now they've moved off the Typeform stack and they're using more custom code, I think now, but they managed to get to something like 3,000 concurrent students, 50 million in venture funding, and it was a great place to get them to where they need to be initially. So there's some of my ramblings of some things that are possible without code, like automations at work and different product features. Just going to have a look at some of the questions here, and if you have questions on any of the automations, efficiencies, and things you'd like to know, then let me know, because there's tools like Coder, for example, which help you build some internal tools like how to manage an all-hands meeting or some project management type stuff really easily, and you can sort of build things in there. So I'll answer Vincent's question first. Do most build these setups, and when revenue or user numbers are up, they begin to custom code? Some do and some don't. So as you can see, for a more public-facing product, sometimes you may need to then start coding something, or you might want some more flexibility or control over what you're doing. So like Lambda School, it probably makes sense for them to build more custom things. They don't build unnecessarily, so it's not all going to code necessarily, but it's definitely coming from a place of like a mixture. And same with Crash, they've got an engineering team, but like they got to a place with no code that worked for their use case. And if you think of having the users and the validation of like revenue, then you have the reason to, okay, we can expand this a bit more. But also, if you're building a simple sales tool with dash, then you probably don't need to overcode that. It's more of this is how we process our leads. We get enriched data, and then we send them to HubSpot for the sales team to then take that over. So that's sort of what I would say there. Looking at some of these questions, I'm an instructor for a small college. What no-code tools would be good for having a remote class? So we've just built our online bootcamp, actually. And the way that works is completely automated. Well, almost completely automated. So essentially all the stuff is all the lessons are on a site. We recorded all the videos, uploaded them to Vimeo, so people can take them. I can actually show you what it looks like because it is live. So for building like an internal, so here you can see like this is Enroll in the Bootcamp, and we've used Airtable here to enroll in the bootcamp. You put your full name and address in. This is something similar that Lambda School did, actually. They had people use Airtable to submit projects. So when you go through our bootcamp, you can watch the video. There's basically a quiz for each step. There's a project submission. So the quiz we've built in Typeform, so that pulls through different questions that then gets added to an Airtable. Then we've got our project submission, so you enter your email and your submission and what project it's for. So basically there's a big Airtable on the back that has, okay, Ben has completed project 1. He scored 60% in his Typeform quiz and now has a project submission. Here it is. We've left a piece there which is manual, which we'll go into and we'll score it as well, and we'll go and say, yeah, that's the right project for this stage, just because like that's how we want to mark people. But essentially that's how we run this whole thing. And then once you've completed all of these steps and you've submitted your final project here, you'll get an automation gets triggered through Zapier. It creates a template through Google Slides, which then sends you the certificate that says, congratulations, you've passed, you've graduated this bootcamp. So a lot of that stuff, I think, would apply to like a college. So that's what we use as Airtable. This is from Webflow, Typeform, Zapier, Google Slides or Google Docs for some of the template stuff. Radu has asked, I want to identify top paying customers, enrich that data, profile those customers, find more customers with the same profile, reach out to sell them. Any tips on tools I can tie up to achieve this? Yeah, so you could easily do things like you could just start with dash and plug in a lot of that data, pull in different APIs to enrich that to find similar ones. I don't know about finding similar customers, but it would help you profile the kind of customers you have. But you could then do it where you pull in the Airtable, the built with API, like I just explained, to say, okay, these customers are using Airtable. So then that might help you profile some of the newer customers. But again, you could use things like Google Sheets and Clearbit with Zapier intertwined there that could, or even Airtable with Clearbit, and try and pull some of those things in. But I don't know how, or what steps you might have to like manually add this, then that type of stuff. But yeah, any of those sort of paths should do. Are no code tools like Retool mature enough to replace back offices at B2B companies? So I know that Retool is a great internal tool. Helps you build internal tools. So they're a customer of ours as well. So we partner with them, and yeah, I mean they've got a bunch of great customers you can see on their site anyway. So I would encourage you to look at what they show off there, and depending on what is right for you. So they've got a bunch of different demos here that will show you like a Firebase admin tool, Stripe refunds, charts, interactive maps. These are some of their sort of custom CRMs. I know that Lambda School used a lot of Retool stuff initially too. We've played around a bunch with it, and they can do some really powerful stuff. So it depends, as always, on the level of what the back office stuff is, what you need, and that sort of thing. But it's definitely something to look at. It's becoming more and more popular. Lots of people are looking to Retool to build some internal things. When should we use Bubble or Webflow? So Webflow, in terms of automation and like automation at work, essentially, Webflow is more for the marketing, websites, blogs, and things like that. If you want to launch job board as a feature, things like that, I think really is where Webflow sits. For us, it's like our whole site, and you can build a business on top of Webflow. The same with Bubble, you can build like a marketplace through that. This workshop is just less about the whole building full businesses on these tools. So this is why I'm just saying it in that vein. It's more about how do you automate at work and how do you become more efficient. What are the best tools for pulling in data via any API, transforming it, and then sending it to other services? Yeah, so you mentioned Parabola there. That is probably the one that I would recommend also. I wonder if is Parabola not working for you in what you're trying to do there, or is it just you're trying to look for different tools also to sort of compare them up? But Parabola would be my sort of go-to. Are there other APIs allowing you to play with social channels? Yeah, so Zapier, I mean, they can only do so much. API work can only happen so much because of what they're allowed to from the social platforms themselves. So Zapier lets you pull in Twitter mentions and maybe post a tweet and things like that. So there's, yeah, I'll check that out to see if it does what you need to do. Running into some issues with Parabola. Different sort of Postman and Parabola, which has me concerned. Oh, interesting. I've not heard that. I have heard of Postman before. But at the moment, yeah, I don't know. It might be worth just hitting up the Parabola team on what would be the best thing going forward there. We have some filtering on the site which shows anything to do with APIs. But yeah, it's not quite what you're looking for, I don't think. Maybe it might be worth taking a look at dash too to see if anything helps there. Yeah, there's also autocode.com, which is from Standard Library, and this is a way for connecting APIs together. This is one of their latest products, and yeah, it basically lets you connect tools like this with a semi-no-code stance, but then it actually spits out and generates the code for you. So it has a bit of a mixed bag of not quite no-code, but allowing you to do a lot of stuff yourself. So yeah, I think that's most of the questions, if not all of them. If there's anything else to do with automation, efficiency, let me know. You can either ask a question quickly, or we'll wrap this up and let people get back to what they need to get back to. Yeah, we'll be putting this on the site for replay, and yeah, you can ping us with any questions. We're going to do a bunch more of the workshops over the next couple of weeks, especially. So yeah, take a look at those, and yeah, I'll chat to you all soon. Cheers.